Can't get my intro going. That's okay. We'll do this without an intro. That works. Um, Funny how this. You think you get everything all set up and then it starts having problems. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today. We are going to be going into this story that just broke about the Air National Guardsman who's suspected of leaking classified documents. From the things that I'm seeing and the things that people are talking about, this does not meet the smell test, and it just very, very weird. So I'm going to go over here to the story. I've got NBC News, their take on the story. So, FBI arrests 21-year-old National Guardsman suspected of leaking classified documents. FBI agents took Jack Teixeira into custody Thursday afternoon without incident. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced. Okay. So he's 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard arrested by federal authorities Thursday in connection with their investigation into classified documents that were leaked on the internet. Big time embarrassing to the government, especially about the stuff about Ukraine, because as we've been saying on this show for months, U.S. Military are operating in Ukraine, and people said it was a conspiracy theory. We now have proof of it, and that's what we're seeing right now. Sorry, I'm just trying to get our. There we go. So, yeah, what we've been saying all along, there are American forces in Ukraine, totally on par with what the military does. And, the government's denied it. Now we actually have factual proof. And the government's not happy because it shows they've been trying to drag us into yet another war with, a world power that we've avoided war with for at least the majority, for the majority of my life, and for, I would say, well, yeah, for everyone who's been on this earth since the late 1940s, we've been trying to avoid war with Russia. And it's like they're just trying to push us more and more into this war. And we should not have any part of it. So this is this story, and it doesn't pass the smell test. Here's why. As we just said, this is a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman. So he's really young. He's an Airman first class, so low ranking, very low ranking. How does this individual have access to these classified documents? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I'm hoping to do another live stream with a friend of the show, Micah, who has been on the show before, because he and I, we were both officers. We both dealt with classified material. And even with him, I talked with him this morning, it doesn't add up to him. So how does this individual have this access? And that's the big question. So, so he's going to be in district court, but here, FBI agents arrested Teixeira at his residence in North Dighton, Massachusetts. The other thing to note is that him being Air National Guard means he's not active duty, so he would only have access to these things when he's at drill, unless if he were actually fulfilling an active role, and I have not seen that yet. The FBI has continued to conduct authorized law enforcement activity at the residence since late last week. FBI has aggressively pursued investigative leads, and today's arrest exemplifies our continued commitment to identifying, pursuing, and holding accountable those who betray our country's trust and put our national security at risk. Military records show Teixeira holds the rank of Airman First Class and has been in uniform since he entered the Air National Guard in September 2019. He has been based at Otis Air National Guard Base on Cape Cod and assigned to Cyber Transport Systems Journeyman. A Facebook post in July from the 102nd Intelligence Wing, which is headquartered at the base, congratulated a person with Teixeira's name on a promotion to Airman First Class. U.S. officials have been searching for the source of the leak, which exposed potentially hundreds of pages of intelligence about Russian efforts in Ukraine and spying on U.S. allies. The Pentagon Press Secretary, Air Force Brig General Pat Ryder, declined to confirm the suspect's identity at a briefing on Thursday, and referred to reporters to the Justice Department because it's a law enforcement matter and an ongoing investigation. Yeah, this would also fall under the uh, the DoD's law enforcement. The DoD could give a statement. They're choosing not to. The Department of Defense is. I'm going to switch over here real quick. So the DoD has its own law enforcement capabilities. The Navy has NCIS, Army has its law enforcement. Uh, there's MPs everywhere. They do have law enforcement capabilities, and they investigate this stuff all the time. So here, the DoD saying, "Oh no, this is a Justice Department matter." It's, that's really just a deflection. Yeah, it is. The FBI would have authority in this, but so do DoD law enforcement agencies. So this is just a pure deflection. They could comment, they're choosing not to. So make sure you know that about this, and don't. You'll see people are like, no, the FBI is the one. The DoD could give comment. I guarantee they're a part of this investigation. They could absolutely give a comment. But yeah, we're not seeing that at this moment. So the Defense Department is working around the clock with the intelligence community to better understand the limited scope and scale of these leaks. The Pentagon is very limited in what it can say about the documents themselves. It's really not. You own the documents. You could make some things. I understand. It must be a delivery driver. That's why you hear the dog barking. Asked about intelligence activities of Massachusetts Air National Guard, what Teixeira worked. In general, intelligence wings throughout the Air Force support what you might imagine. Air Force intelligence requirements worldwide to support a variety of intelligence missions and requirements, which would include active guard and reserve components. So this is, again, the military demonstrating its failures. And this happened all the way back in 2008, 2009 with Chelsea Manning. Why would this information be available to Air Force National Guards? You have to have a need to know. So why is this available to them? If you're saying that he's the source of the leak, and we're going to get into that because I don't believe he is, and that's what some of the rumors are. But with this, everything's supposed to be compartmentalized when it comes to classified information. It's not open source. Just because I'm in the Marine Corps and I've got a security clearance doesn't mean I should be able to access documents on Ukraine unless I have a need to know. So if they're saying that this young man accessed those documents and then downloaded them and posted them, like how Chelsea Manning did, then that shows you that in 17 years that the military has not learned its lesson and has not fixed itself. So this is a problem of the military. Let's get back to the story here. The classified documents were found online last month. How long they had been on the internet and total number that had been posted remain unclear. They revealed details about U.S. spying on Russian efforts in Ukraine. Again, nothing that the DoD really should even have unless it was given to them by the CIA and other intelligence agencies. There's the Defense Intelligence Agency itself, but again, I don't see why the Massachusetts Air National Guard should have access. So again, failure of compartmentalization. Russia's war efforts in the Ukraine and secret assessments of Ukraine's combat power. Okay, that I understand why they would need, as well as intelligence gathering on U.S. allies, including South Korea and Israel, NBC News has reported. Okay. President Joe Biden suggested Thursday that officials appeared to be nearing a breakthrough in their investigation. There's a full-blown investigation going on, as you know, with the Intelligence Committee and the Justice Department, and they're getting close, Biden told reporters in Ireland. Two White House officials later confirmed the president has been briefed about Teixeira's arrest. The suspect's identity was first reported Thursday by the New York Times, which said he was the leader of a small online gaming group where the documents were first leaked. This is that Thug Shaker something Discord group. The Washington Post has reported about the gaming group, identifying their leader only as OG. The main source for the story was a member of the group on the platform Discord, a minor who was granted anonymity. The Post said it reviewed about 300 photos of classified documents the suspect is alleged to have leaked. Now, they're saying that Teixeira leaked this, most of which the report have not been made public. NBC News has not yet verified the details about the gaming group or that it was where classified documents were first shared. In a statement after Teixeira's arrest, Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Jack Reed said this is a major security breach that cannot be allowed to happen again. Yeah, we heard that in 2008. And the DoD is still having these problems. Leaking this trove of classified information endangers our military and intelligence professionals and undermine the security of our allies and partners. Anyone with a security clearance who betrays their country by purposely mishandling classified information or disclosing classified materials must be held accountable. Reed, Democrat, Rhode Island, added. According to Bellingcat, the open source investigative group, the documents appeared in early March on Discord social media app. Some documents may have appeared as early as January, the group said. A researcher and editor who helped break the story at Bellingcat said the documents were passed around 3 separate Discord servers before they were broadly made public on the extremist site 4chan. Kirby said the Pentagon is leading an interagency effort here to review what national security implications might come out of all of this. The Justice Department is leading a criminal investigation. He also said it appears some of the classified documents have been altered from their original form. Officials spent last weekend contacting relevant allies and partners at very high levels. Okay, so there's the story. There's a couple key things there that they are identifying this individual, Jack Teixeira, as the source. Again, low-ranking guy. Even with him being in a cyber group, why does he have this broad of information? Why is the military have more failures of compartmentalization? Why do they have failures of people being able to access and download this information? What I've seen from the military, they are incredibly restrictive when it comes to what we call the unclassified system. So where you can send stuff back and forth, it's primarily unclassified, and they're cracking down on things like PII, public or personal identifiable information, and also sensitive information, like not so much like troop movements or anything, but things that's like we really don't want the public knowing about it, even though it is open source. We're just not going to highlight it. So, like, it's kind of hard to explain a little bit because there's things out there that like you don't want people knowing where all these things are going to be happening, but it's public information and you can't hide it legally. So, it'll be out there and people will find it if they really want to look. But with this, he's a cyber transport systems journeyman. I don't know cyber transport systems. I'm guessing that would be like a network. For the Marine Corps, it'd be like a network data marine, where you're the one in charge of sending stuff back and forth. But again, even though he has classified information, he doesn't have a need to know, at least from what I'm basing here. So why does he have access to it without a need to know? Now, here's the rumors that I have been hearing, and this makes sense to me based upon what I'm seeing. The rumor is that in this Discord group, there was a CIA operative. That CIA operative got into a pissing match with these guys. And I've seen this happen time and time again in veterans communities. People, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's machismo. I'm beating my chest. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And that the CIA agent was the one actually posting this information. And what I heard was that this kid was arguing with him and possibly posting stuff that countered it. Now, If that's the case, now we run into a much bigger problem. If there is a CIA, if there is a CIA official on that Discord discussing their job, that's a breach right there. Most CIA officials cannot even comment if they work for the CIA. They can absolutely identify that they work for the government, but many are not allowed to disclose that they work for the CIA. So that's red flag number one. Uh, Secondly, why would that individual be posting anything posting any documents online? They should know just by way of their job, anything that, especially if they're publicly saying I work for the CIA, people are going to take notice, and anything that that individual posts, whether it be classified or unclassified, is going to be under intense scrutiny. And by that I mean there are going to be people looking to see, one, is this guy full of shit? Two, you'll have enemies who are looking to embarrass the government, like what happened here. So they're going to be taking note and screenshotting everything that he posts, saving anything that he posts. Uh, all that is, every single bit of that is all illegal. But it makes sense to me that that's why these things would be posted. I've seen enough pissing matches and where these guys would go back and forth. I've dealt with it myself, where people have tried to get me to post my DD-214. Look, at this point, if you don't think I'm a veteran, there's no helping you. But yeah, you don't post your personally identifiable information that you're not willing to post, and you definitely don't post any security information. And there's things that I've talked about where I like I said, I've worked in a skiff. That's a secure compartmentalized information facility where I was dealing with classified information every single day. Um, Unclassified, secret, and top secret. Those are the three classifications of classified material. But again, within all those, you have to have a need to know. So my question is, was this a false flag? And by that I mean, were they trying to root out people in the military that are undesirables? This would be one way, because you don't hear about a CIA person being arrested. And I've heard that the rumor is that this individual, Jack Teixeira, um, actually didn't post anything secret, but instead was arrested because his Discord server hosted the information that was posted. That is absolutely against the law. Yes, we're talking about this. So Conspiracy Kitty wants to join in. And oh yeah, the service dog, Glory, she wants to join in as well. Um, so what you're seeing is, if that's the case, the arrest still makes sense, but I think there's more nefarious things. Like, from what I can tell, there's there's definitely government failures, whether it's a CIA agent posting something or whether it's the DoD giving people access to things that they absolutely shouldn't. So we should not be accepting that this is just limited, and like I said, the Pentagon says very limited, or no, that's what they could say. We shouldn't accept them to say, "Oh, this was an isolated incident" or anything like that. We're at the point after Snowden, after Chelsea Manning, we're at the point where they should have fixed this. We've had, as we used to say in safety, a close call is God telling you there's a problem. And we've had not just close calls, we've had actual disasters hit. And why they haven't worked to fix it, other than just telling your basic service member, oh, hey, you got to do training more. You got to do it. You got to do more of this training. Okay, it's not a training problem. This is not a training problem. Uh, and I'll say that to the Secretary of Defense. You don't have a training problem. You have an actual, I'm trying to think of the word, an administrative control problem. People are getting access to this because you are giving them access. Why do they have access? Why is that access not limited after all the problems we've seen? Why are you still storing things onto massive drives? And I dealt with this in Afghanistan. We had a shared drive, and with that, it was people had posted porn onto it, and whoever did that, just it's like you're a freaking idiot, because if you post anything onto the share drive that shouldn't be there, they're not going to be happy about it, and now you're sharing porn on there. So that was a major investigation that we dealt with. And but again, why do people, if you're going to do a share drive, why are these folders open to everybody? You know, what did this kid, very low ranking, why did he have this level of access? So that becomes the question. So this does not pass the smell test. I'm going to go to our comments here. Mr. Beavis, could the U.S. government be doing this on purpose to escalate the war in Ukraine by forcing Russia to respond in a way that forces the U.S. government to get more involved in Ukraine? Uh, Perfect topic for Conspiracy Kitty. I think that's absolutely valid. I think that is an absolute valid comment, because why else? Why else are we having this? And the government knows more than what it lets on. It can do more things than what it lets on, which is ridiculous. That when you look at your average government worker, they can't go on to certain websites, uh, because no access is blocked because this is a security thing. But yet, this kid has access to all these classified documents. Really? That's the problem. The focus is on the wrong places. So we'll we might do another uh, live here for this. We're definitely going to probably talk about this. Um, we're using, for us here, we're using the hashtag stand with Jack Teixeira, because we believe that you know the government is not telling us enough about this, and it just, like I said, doesn't pass the smell test. This all looks to be kind of, if it's not nefarious, it is blatantly negligent by the DoD. Blatantly negligent. And we as citizens should not accept that. We should not accept it at all. So that's where we're at with this. I'm going to go ahead and end this. For those of you who joined, please hit like, subscribe, leave us a comment. I'll be talking about this, and there's any aspects of this that you find, please send it to us. I'm veterannation@protonmail.com. We monitor that. You can also put it in the comments. We'll talk about it on Tuesday's show. Might do something even before that. So thank you for joining us for this live today. And as always,